Presentation on OpenSSH. SSH stands for Secure Shell, which is a widely used cryptographic network protocol that provides secure access to remote systems over an unsecured network. OpenSSH is one of the most popular implementations of SSH, especially on Linux systems, due to its robustness and security features. This presentation explores how SSH works, how to install and configure OpenSSH on a Linux server, and the best practices for securing SSH access. The focus is on strengthening security through recommended configurations, ensuring safe authentication, and preventing unauthorized access. So how it works is it encrypts data transmission, preventing eavesdropping and man-in-the-middle attacks. It is widely used for remote system administration, secure file transfers, and tunneling network services. By default, SSH runs on port 22, allowing users to log in to remote machines securely using either passwords or key-based authentication. OpenSSH, the open source version of SSH, enhances security and provides additional functionalities such as encrypted file transfer and port forwarding. Understanding how SSH works and properly configuring on a server is crucial for maintaining a secure infrastructure. It is developed as part of the OpenBSD project and is widely used on Linux systems. It also allows administrators to control access through detailed configuration settings, restricting user permissions, and managing login policies. Because of its flexibility and strong security measures, OpenSSH is the preferred SSH implementation for most Linux distributions. So, to install OpenSSH, it is pretty straightforward. First, you want to ensure the package lists are updated by running sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. Then install the OpenSSH server package with sudo apt install OpenSSH-server. Once installed, verifying the service status using the sudo systemctl status SSH. If the SSH service is active, the server is now ready to accept remote connections. By default, SSH listens on port 22, but this can change for security reasons. Ensuring OpenSSH is correctly installed and running is the first step in configuring a secure remote access environment. So, looking at basic configuration, once OpenSSH is installed, configure it properly is essential for securing remote access. The primary configuration file is located on the etc folder at etc/ssh/sshd-config. It allows administrators to customize settings such as login permissions, authentication methods, and network restrictions. Key settings include disabling root login to prevent unauthorized access, changing the default port to minimize attack exposures, and allowing only specific users to connect via SSH. Applying these configurations and restarting the SSH service ensures that the server is protected from common vulnerabilities. For user authentication, it supports password-based and key-based authentication. Password authentication is convenient but susceptible to brute force attacks. In contrast, key-based authentication uses a cryptographic key pair, significantly enhancing security. To set up key-based authentication, a user generates a key pair using SSH-keygen. Then copies the public key to the server using SSH copy ID. when logging in, the server verifies the private key on the client system without transmitting sensitive data over the network. This method eliminates the need for passwords and reduces the risk of unauthorized access. So for the first strengthening recommendation is to disable root login. Allowing direct root access increases the risk of brute force attacks and unauthorized privilege escalation. To prevent this, we edit the etc SSH config file and set permit root login to no. After saving the changes, restart SSH with sudo systemctl restart. By enforcing this policy, administrators can ensure that users must log in with a lower privilege account before switching to root, adding an extra layer of security. So recommendation 2 is use key-based authentication. To further secure SSH access, it is highly recommended to disable password authentication and use key-based authentication instead. This method significantly reduces the risk of brute force attacks and unauthorized logins. After you generate an SSH key pair, using the SSH keygen, the public key should be copied to the server's key file. Finally, in the config file, the setting password authentication no should be applied. Once configured, only users with the correct private keys can access the server, greatly improving security. Recommendation 3 is change the default SSH port. Changing the default port from 22 to another unused port helps reduce automated attack attempts. Attackers frequently scan for open SSH ports on common port numbers, so using an alternative port makes it less likely for the server to be targeted. To change the port, edit the etc config file and modify the line port 22222 or another chosen number. After restarting the SSH service, the new port must be specified with connecting whatever the port number is. By implementing this simple change enhances security for threats. Configuring a firewall to restrict SSH access is essential for securing the server also. Using UFW, administrators can allow SSH traffic to custom port by running the sudo UFW command. Additionally, access can be limited to specific IP addresses, reducing the risk of unauthorized connections. Firewalls help prevent unwanted access and mitigate attacks by enforcing strict rules on network traffic. You can also detect unauthorized login attempts and suspicious activity by regularly monitoring the SSH logs. To test the SSH connection, this ensures that everything works as expected. A standard SSH connection is established with whatever the port is with that command. If key-based authentication is enabled, the private key must be used with the command. Proper testing helps confirm that security settings are correctly applied while maintaining server accessibility. For troubleshooting tips, if SSH fails to connect, checking the service status with sudo systemctl status SSH is the first step in troubleshooting. The firewall settings should be verified to ensure that SSH port is open using sudo UFW status. Additionally, reviewing logs with the sudo can provide insight into authentication failures. In conclusion, SSH, especially when used with OpenSSH, is an essential tool for securing remote server access. By following the best practices such as disabling root login, implementing key-based authentication, and changing the default port, administrators can significantly reduce security risk. Proper configuration combined with monitoring and firewall controls ensures a secure and reliable SSH environment. These security measures are crucial for maintaining the integrity of Linux-based systems in a networked environment. That is all. Thank you. What the heck?